In today's FOMC preview, I will share exactly how I'm trading gold, the euro, and the pound as we head into those events on Wednesday, including a trade that I took this week on the pound. So my name is Justin Bennett, full-time trader and founder of Daily Price Action. As always, all of this is my opinion only and not financial advice. So let's jump right into it, guys, with gold here, XAUUSD. And if you've seen the recent videos, I've warned about this multiple times, I think 3 videos in a row, talking about the potential for gold to rotate lower. And we first started talking about it way back here before we even got this change of character that you're viewing right here. And one reason for this was the fact that the US dollar was firming up. We've talked about that for the past really week or so. And also the fact that silver is actually ahead of gold in this regard. So silver, Tuesday of last week, a week ago, silver put in a change of character, similar to what gold just did here in the last 24 hours. So silver telling us that there was already a change of character on the chart, and knowing that silver and gold moved together really 98%, 99% of the time, we knew, or at least we had a good idea, that gold was potentially about to do the same. And sure enough, we did get that a few hours ago. So with gold right now, guys, what are we looking at here? We do have a downtrend in place ever since February. So lower highs and lower lows. Like I've said in recent videos, the fact that we took out this low down here, we didn't just wick below it or bounce from here. We actually took it out. We actually had acceptance below this low right back here. So that was the cue that gold, this downtrend here, this pullback, was alive and well. So once we had the move up here, as I've said in recent videos, to me, all this was doing was just mitigating this imbalance back here, and we were likely to get a lower high, which so far kind of looks like that's what we're getting here from XAUUSD. So in terms of targets as we head into FOMC, now keep in mind, obviously with FOMC on Wednesday coming up here in, let's see, just about 24 hours, we are likely to see a lot of volatility for these markets, and gold is no exception. So keep that in mind. Now, with this change of character, though, we are looking lower now, potentially down here toward these imbalances, which if we look at the 1 hour time frame, you can see that back here we do have this displacement from gold. So back here on March 23rd, we had the low down here. We then had an aggressive move out of this. And so far, everything below this low, right around 4,300 below this, is going to be an imbalance here for gold. Okay. So when you get a long lower wick like this on the 1 hour time frame, this back here is an imbalance. Okay. You don't have to have necessarily an FVG or fair value gap per se. This right here, this long lower wick, shows displacement and an inefficient auction that took place back here. So that alone is enough to often send a market back to areas like this, especially once you get a change of character. So what you have here is, if you want to kind of call these, certain terms, right? We can call this down here a magnet, so to speak, okay, below 4,300 that could attract the market down here to provide that efficient auction that we did not have back here in March. And then you have the technical trigger, okay? That is this change of character right here. Now, in terms of where to look for shorts, okay? And by the way, if you are at all confused about this here on the chart with SMC, then check out the link right here on the screen. That's going to provide you with a free SMC course. That is the exact same strategy that I use to trade full time. So check that out. It is completely free. It's also content that you won't find here on YouTube. So it's about 2 hours of content that walks you through my entire strategy that I use to trade full time step by step. So right here, guys, we have the change of character. Now, as far as shorts go, we do have an imbalance here for gold on this drop. So on this change of character, we do have displacement, okay? Now, this right here, this up here around 4640, 4680, this entire window up here is an imbalance for gold. So going into FOMC, if we do see the market come up here and mitigate this area, retest it, then we get a lower time frame shift up here, okay? Then that could potentially be a short going into FOMC. Now, this is not a forecast. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. But that is what I'm looking for if gold is going to rotate lower and give us a move down here toward this low. Okay. So if we are going to see these lows down here taken out and potentially get that move down here toward this region, then I want to see this area mitigated first, followed by a bearish signal. As always, I will be sure to update members in Discord if I do take the trade, as I do with every trade I take. I share everything in real time in Discord, including entry, stop loss, and take profit. And if you do want to join us in Discord, then that free course I just showed you, beyond that, you will have a chance to join us in Discord if you want. Again, I'm looking for, shorts up here, but I need that lower time frame confirmation. We also have FOMC coming up, so be really careful with that. But as of right now, guys, with this change of character, it does look pretty bearish for gold here, at least in the near term. Now, the EURUSD. All right, let's talk about this here because we are getting some follow through here recently which if you guys have seen recent videos, what we talked about there repeatedly, this is another one too that I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here, but I've called this one pretty much perfectly over the past few weeks. So following this move up, once we had this change of character, this was the area up here right around 1.18. This is what I was watching for a reversal from, because we had the open gap up here. We had this imbalance that was mitigated. Now, on top of that, what you'll notice is that from these highs and lows, okay, if we take from this high up here off of this high, what you'll notice is that we have these lows back here. Okay, symmetry in the market. And we talk about this a lot with markets because you see this a lot. And the beautiful thing about this is that you can draw this channel once you have these two lows and this high. You do not actually need this high up here to draw this. So if you're looking at this and thinking, well, this is nice in hindsight, that's not actually the case, because you can draw this long before the market gets up here. And we did. In fact, I was talking about it back when we were trading through here. And I said, this was the region that I was looking for a reversal. And I did get short the euro last week, and I shared it in real time in Discord. So on the 1 hour time frame, this right here was the short. You can see we had a BOS. Okay, so we had to close above, protected low down here. We took that out, change of character. This was the area to short. Okay, so I was shorting this last week. I did get out before the weekend for a profit, just because I didn't want to hold over the weekend with everything going on in the Middle East, and knowing that Trump is a wild card, to say the least. So right now with the euro, we are bouncing right off of what could be a neckline of a head and shoulders pattern. Now, I don't trade the head and shoulders by itself. I trade SMC. I trade the stack system, which is a system I developed. But this right here could be signaling some exhaustion here on this move up. And that would make sense. It would make sense because, again, we are coming into the top of that channel. And furthermore, too, with the euro, we still have this imbalance back here. And furthermore, we also have an imbalance back here as well. Okay, so if you look at the objective of this head and shoulders, if that's your thing, if you're okay trading head and shoulders, then this objective from here up here to the high, you've got about 180 pips. So from this area, if we do get a breakdown, the objective here comes in below this low. Okay, so down here around 1.15, possibly just below that. Now, I think that if we get that, as I've said in recent videos, you've got to be careful because we do have this bullish change of character on the 4 hour. Okay, so we had this high back here. We had a BOS. This was the external high. We took this out. Okay, now we have this imbalance down here. We have another imbalance down here. So in my opinion, this could be enough to drag the market lower. Now, with that said, we have FOMC on Wednesday. Keep that in mind. That could change everything. And this is going to be a fluid situation. And that's really the benefit of being in Discord, is that you get that real-time discussion with me Monday through Friday. I'm telling you guys right now, if you're just on YouTube and you're not in Discord, and I'm not just saying this to get you in there, but I talk about things a lot in Discord. We talk about this stuff all day long in real time. So if you're all confused about this stuff, if you want those real-time updates, then join us in Discord. We have this bullish change of character on the 4 hour. However, we can go a step further with this. As we've talked about in recent videos, on the daily time frame, we have a bearish change of character on the daily. Now, this, okay, is going to be more significant than the bullish change of character above this high. So the 4 hour change of character we just saw here, okay, that was on the 4 hour. This right here, though, is on the daily. So in my opinion, I still think overall the euro looks pretty bearish just based on this alone. Okay. And as I've said in recent videos too, guys, this was not a slight, change of character here. Okay. This was not like a few pips. We're talking about over 50 pips on this close right here. And the same thing with this BOS. Both of these were very, very convincing. So in my opinion, looking at this here, it does start to look a little bit bearish here for the euro. And keep in mind too, that this is the first bearish change of character on the daily that we've had since 2024. We did not get anything like this during this entire run up in 2025 and really throughout 2026 until this close right here. So, again, it does look relatively bearish here. However, for the euro right now, as you can see, the market is bouncing off of the neckline that I shared in the video over the weekend. Okay. So could be head and shoulders here, possibly signaling exhaustion from this market. But again, you can see where today here on Tuesday, going into FOMC, we are bouncing from that neckline area. Okay, so there is still the case to be made that we do see the euro actually come up here and mitigate this area back here. So above this high, before we possibly get a lower high developing. Just keep that in mind too, guys, that this doesn't mean that just because we're looking at this market forming, this possible right shoulder, that this is it. Okay. The market could absolutely, especially going into FOMC, could absolutely come up here, mitigate this area, and then form a lower high. Now, if we see the euro take out this high up here, then everything I've discussed here in terms of the bearish scenario could be invalidated, okay? Because then we have a potential BOS above this high up here, okay? So everything right now kind of hinges on this high. As long as we're below this, I am looking for lower highs and lower lows to, at least mitigate 1.16, possibly 1.15, okay? It's just a matter of, do we see some relief here first going into FOMC before we get that? That's really the big question right now. So moving on to GBPUSD. Now, this is the one that I shorted this week, and I will show you why. So like I talked about over the weekend, in fact, back here, we had the market giving us what I call an LSR, a liquidity sweep reversal. What that is you get the market giving you a high like this, you come down, right? You form a higher low, you then sweep that high, and then we swept it once again, okay? So this right here, we had 3 taps off of this high. And also one thing about markets too, it's kind of this phenomenon that you get 3 taps typically on highs or lows, okay? So anytime you're looking at this, watch for 3 taps on highs or lows off of resistance or support, and you'll often see the market actually give you a top from there. Now, what I was shorting this week is the fact that the market moved into this imbalance. So I talked about this over the weekend, that this back here was the imbalance I was watching this week, and you can see where we tapped right into that on Monday. So what I was shorting here is the mitigation of that on top of this right here. Okay, so on the 5-minute time frame, you can see a couple of instances here, we took out these lows. Okay, so BOS, we took out both lows. This right here. So I was shorting this. I still am short on this. I will be sure to update Discord members in real time. If I get out of this trade or take some partial profit going into FOMC, you can see that we are coming off the lows here, which no surprise there. The dollar hit some resistance today. The euro hit some support. The pound hit some support. So no surprise to see these bounces occurring here. The question though is, does this high stay intact? And really, do these highs up here stay intact? I think that's really going to be key for the pound here in order to see lower from this market. And one reason why, I've talked about lower from this market, and it's still speculative. We still don't know what's going to happen here, guys. Nobody knows what's going to happen with any market. But with that said, if this is going to stand, then you still got areas like this down here below the lows. I mean, this is right here is just a massive imbalance for this market. We saw displacement out of here, absolutely no retrace into this. So in my opinion, this could, offer a sort of magnet, as I call them sometimes, to drag this market lower down there toward like 1.33, possibly a bit lower. But like the euro too, as I've mentioned, you've got to be a little bit careful if you are getting bearish on the pound, especially if we see this down here, simply because you can see that within this downtrend, we've had lower highs and lower lows. And then all of a sudden back here, we had the BOS, and then we had the change of character. So this right here is bullish. However, as I always say too, bullish and bearish don't mean buy and sell. They're not synonymous with that. A change of character like this, you're actually looking for a pullback, okay? Same thing with the BOS. You don't want to try to, if you notice here, right, you get the BOS right here, you don't want to short that. Same thing here, you get the BOS, you don't want to short that. You wait for the retrace, okay? So in this case here with the change of character, you're not buying this right here, okay? Instead, you're looking for a retrace, in this case with the pound. My opinion is looking from this low down here to the highs, you can see where these lows right here are right at the 50%. Everything below this is discount, okay? And again, we have that imbalance back there around 1.33, possibly lower. So that is my target for the pound. We'll see if we get it over the coming days, because again, we are seeing some relief here from the pound and the euro as well, coming off those support levels. All right, but still, currently guys, I see no reason to be bullish on the euro or the pound, given where the markets are trading right now, given those imbalances that we have to the downside going into FOMC. But again, FOMC could change everything. So just be really careful out there over the next 24 hours. If this video helped, keep it locked in here, subscribe to the channel, and also check out the video right here where I walk you through a trade that I took so you can see my step-by-step process and how I profit with SMC. Until next time, trade well. I will talk to you again tomorrow.